Hi talents, how are you doing? Surprised? Well, you see, you'll come to know why I'm referring to you as talent by the end of this session. Till then, just know that if you did not have talent, you would not have been sitting here and watching this video and finding out better ways to become successful. So in that ways, yes, you are talent. And as a trainer, it is my responsibility to ensure that talents like you get their due success in their life and career. So talents, welcome. I, Ratnabha Saha, your host and host in these sessions of personality development, welcome you to be part of this video. Today, we play with one of the most exciting, challenging, important and sometimes the most uncomfortable part of selection process. What is it? Yes, you have guessed it right. I am talking of personal interviews. For some, it is pure nightmare. For some, interviews are bearable at the best. And for some, it is confusing. Rarely do I come across someone who feels on the day of his interview, oh, it's nothing, it's just another day. So to help you battle these feelings, I promise you to give you magic tricks for preparing interviews. So the first thing to know is how many kinds of interviews can be there. There can be two types of interviews: assessment interview and investigative interviews. Now, the interviews which we normally see in TV while we watch interviews of Prime Minister, actors, cricketers, etc., they all are investigative interviews. The purpose? They are mainly to elicit a response or an opinion about an issue with which the person is related or for which he or she is responsible. Now, should these types of interviews be a matter of our concern or discussion at this point of time? Obviously not. We are here concerned about only assessment interviews, because that is the interview where the interviewer evaluates the candidate, at the end takes a decision about the candidate. For most of us who are sitting for competitive exam, that decision means selection or rejection. Selection processes across the world are based on some basic parameters that are evaluated in a candidate. Like the purpose of every interview process also differs to suit the purpose of the interview. So an interview for an entry-level job in an IT firm will be different from an entry-level job in a manufacturing firm. An interview of a commerce graduate for his or her first job will be different from an interview of an engineering graduate for his first job. An interview for an MBA will be different from an interview of PhD. An interview for a mid-level management professional will be different from an interview for a top-level management job. In short, in different stages of your life, you'll encounter different kind of interviews. Also, people from different backgrounds, education and experience wise, will also have different kinds of interviews. Now, if that had been all, that would be okay. But that is not all. Let's understand our challenge fully. Even for fresh graduates hailing from the same background, the interviewers are never same. Job interview types differ according to the type of job he or she is applying for. And for higher education interview, types differ according to the course he or she is opting for. So one's interview type not only differs across backgrounds and life stages, but it may also differ according to the requirements of the course or job that he has applied for. Feeling scary? This means we'll have to prepare, have different types of answer for different types of interviews. Now that is really overwhelming. One interview preparation seems so difficult. Now if I say you have to prepare for so many interviews, then you have every right to feel down. But don't freak. I assure you that the solution is much simpler than the look of the problem. Think about it. What is universally true for all kinds of interviews? A candidate who will face is the agenda of the interviewer. The interviewer in all the cases, irrespective of the purpose of the interview, will want to ascertain the value of the interviewee as an individual through this personal interaction called interview. So don't you think that there should be some common link, even if the types of interviews may differ a lot? What can that common link be? Think. Yes, it is you, of course. A personal interview is only about you. So through the interview, purpose may change, panel may change, but in all this, something is going to remain always constant, and that is you. Interview, you see, it's a combination of words. Interview, which means to view inside. So therefore, it means to view inside the candidate. Now, how can someone do that? And that too in 20 to 30 minutes of average interview time. It can only be done when the purpose of the questions will be such that when the candidate answers it, he or she reveals some part of his or her real self. That is the reason why we see interviewers coming up with questions of general awareness and questions of technical nature even in an HR interview. The reason of such pointed specific questions being asked, apart from revealing knowledge regarding that particular issue, is that it gives a great idea about the candidate's personality, such as his ability to handle both familiar and uncharted territories of questions. Now that we understand that we are common to all interviews, that you are common to all interviews, but now the question is, how will our answers fit for different interviews? For that, we need to see from which areas the questions in interviews can come. Let's make a list. Questions may come from your academics, hobbies, interests, general awareness, current affairs. You might also be asked about the company or institute for which you have applied. So we can see very clearly that there can be different areas from where the questions can come. So there seem to be an awful number of questions possible. How are we to handle them? Here comes my magic trick that I promised you at the start of the session. You know my liking for short forms. So I devised a magic trick for interview preparation too and gave a short form name to it. The name of the magic trick is HAPI-G. Well, now you can be happy. You see, even the magic trick to prepare and perform in interviews says HAPI-G. Let's see what is HAPI-G. H stands for hobbies, extracurricular activities and achievements. So it starts with hobbies. A stands for academics and co-curricular activities or work experience too. P stands for personality based question. I stands for information on institute or company which you want to join. And G stands for general awareness. Now let's see the details of the HAPI-G activity by taking one activity at a time. I'll give you 3 parameters for every activity. Purpose. Why is it necessary? Sample question. What type of questions represent that particular activity? And third, how to prepare. That is, what you can do to prepare for these questions. So now, let's start with H. H, as already said, stands for hobbies, extracurricular activities and achievements. Purpose. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Sometimes your academic choices can be forced upon you by your family, peer group and others. But hobbies? They are rarely forced upon you. Your hobbies display your personal interest. You do your hobby because you love it. So questions on these are a reflection of your general interest towards yourself. In some ways, you can say that this gives interviewers a peek into your real personality and your love for life. Activities and achievements in the segment of your hobbies in some ways give data to your interviewer on your competitive spirit. This segment also gives important data to interviewers about the team skills of the individual. Sample questions. What did you learn from your hobbies? General awareness questions on national or international event from the field of your hobby. Why this hobby and not the other? If you are interested in sports, technical detail of that sport may also be asked. Now third, how to prepare. 1. List down the extracurricular activities you have participated in. 2. Write down why did you choose these activities. 3. What are your hobbies, or if you are not sure about hobby, then what other areas interest you. 4. How have these choices helped you to become a better person and a professional? Now we come to A. A for academics and co-curricular activities. Purpose: these are things that you have been doing for the last few years of your life. As I said in the hobby segment, for many students, their academic or job choice is determined by parental or peer pressure, opportunities, and also lack of clarity sometimes. Now, most students make this as their excuse to not excel in their academic or work life. But you should always remember, such attitude makes you a non-performer in your eyes, and slowly you lose your most important asset, your self-respect. So when an interviewer asks such question, in reality, he or she is evaluating your level of sincerity in life. Are you so stupid that you wasted 3-4 years of your life just to get a degree? Or are you so smart that degree was the byproduct of your interest in the subjects you learned, which was the learning was your main driving force? Now you may ask, when we have taken a choice which might not have been our first choice, then how can we become genuinely interested? To illustrate my point, let me tell you a story. One day, an 11-year-old boy went to learn cricket. He wanted to be a fast bowler, but in the first few days, his dream was shattered. Because his coach said, "My dear boy, you do not have the build and the skill of a fast bowler, so don't try to be." He became sad. His friends started pulling his leg, saying that his dream is finished. Imagine an 11-year-old child, his dreams shattered, his friends making fun of him. How would he react? Or how should he react? With anger, frustration, helplessness? But no, he reacted with a response. He said to his friends, "My coach has said that I'll not be a fast bowler, but he has not said anything about batting." What an attitude. Years later in an interview, he summed up his way of life. He said, "If you do not get what you love, then start loving what you have got." This attitude is what differentiated him from his friends. You know who this man is? We today know him as the god of cricket, Sachin Tendulkar. Now let's see the sample questions for A. General questions from your area is a common way to start academic questions. What are your favorite subjects? Specific questions on your favorite subjects can also be raised. Questions based on recent events from your field. What are the application areas of your stream? Now, how to prepare? 1. List down the subjects in which you are comfortable. It is better to pitch them as your favorite subjects too. 2. Justify your academic performance. If your academic score is low, then you should have justification for the same. 3. List down the tangible, that is learning from academics or direct work experience, and intangible, that is learning from life, from teachers, peer group, colleagues, activities, etc. 4. If you have working experience, list down in thorough details information of projects you have worked in. 5. List down all the co-curricular activities you have participated in and also awards, big or small, that you have earned. Now I'll come to P of HAPI-G. P stands for personality-based question. Purpose of these questions? Such questions are asked to test the maturity and the focus of the candidate. It shows the level of analysis that a candidate does on himself or herself. It also shows clarity of direction that the candidate has in his or her life. Does the career plan of the candidate have some practical base, or is it a fool's paradise? Now, these questions also test the candidate's basic traits such as honesty, commitment, trustworthiness. Sample questions. What are your strengths and or weaknesses? Where do you see yourself some years down the line? Why are you going for a job or higher education? Tell me something about yourself. Tell us something that is not in the CV. So these are the questions that can come from your personality front. How to prepare? 1. List all your strengths. 2. How have these strengths helped you in past? List it. 3rd, list your weaknesses. 4. List examples of incidents where these weaknesses have hurt you. 5. List down the efforts you have taken to improve on your weaknesses. 6. Give examples of situations where you took charge of a difficult situation and resolved it. 7. Goals that you have set for yourself in past and efforts you have took to reach there. 8. Your role model or life's ideal and why. 9. Lessons you learned from these. And 10. List your medium-term goal, that is 5 to 10 years goal. Now coming to I. I stands for information on company or institute. Purpose? This question can sometimes become a deal maker or a breaker. Why? You see, response to this question shows a candidate's real interest in the assignment for which he or she is being interviewed. What are the sample questions? Let's look at it. Why should we select you? Why do you want to join our company? How are we different from others? Now, how to prepare for these types of questions? First, surf on the net about the basic details of the company or institute, such as year of foundation, mission, vision, number of employees, market cap if listed, revenue or profit figures if published, major clients, major industry alliances, prominent alumni, etc. etc. 2. Find out parallels between your strength and company's work ethic. Now, G. As I said earlier, G stands for General Awareness. Purpose? In a normal interview, these questions are there to judge the basic awareness of the candidate. For example, a management candidate should be aware of the major business news in the country and the world. An UPSC candidate should be aware about the current political scenario of the country and world. Now, if it is a stress interview, then general awareness is used as a tool to make the candidate uncomfortable and see how he reacts. So, GA can be used that way also. Sample questions from area G. Anything and everything. General awareness. How to prepare. Pebble exercise that we discussed in video 1 and worked exercise that we discussed in video 2. These two will help you in preparing for general awareness. If you have been doing these two exercises, you are more than adequately prepared for GA. And if you want to know more about these two, you can watch them in the personality development playlist of the Merit Shine videos. The link is also available on the screen. Now, this is HAPI-G, the blueprint to prepare for interviews. Now, how to translate this blueprint to actual answers of interview, that will be dealt in another video. Now let me list the questions that I get after this activity in my class. Sir, how much time will it take? From where do we start finding data about ourselves and with which do we start? You see, this exercise is an introspection exercise. It will be different for different individuals. But to get ready the first draft, you will take 4 to 5 working days, working 3 hours a day. The answer to your second question is that you start from your past. Look into your past, your achievements, failures, good times, bad times, and get data for each one of these questions. Start with the objective questions, such as what is your score, listing your hobbies, and then go for the subjective questions like why are these your hobbies, what have you learned from them. Also, you only need to prepare for H, A and P, that is hobbies, academics, personality. I, that is information on company, will change from institute to institute or company to company. The next question that I normally get is, Ratnabha, from where do we start in the direction that you have set and how much to do? To them I answer, simple. You just need to focus on the how to prepare area of H, A and P as a starting exercise. That is 4 tasks in H, 5 tasks in A and 10 tasks in P. Total 19 tasks. I is interview specific and G is a continuous activity, which I am sure you are already doing. Another query that I get, sir, everything is so related to us that if we know ourselves well, would not be interviews a cakewalk? Yes, of course, and that's the purpose. That is the reason, friends, at the start of this session, I referred to you as talent. You see, irrespective of what happens in the interview, you need to remember only one thing. You are pure talent. Whether that talent would mean success in a particular interview or organization or institute will depend upon A, your preparedness, and B, their requirement. And their HAPI-G will be your friend, guide and mentor. If you want to get a detailed version of this activity and many more such interesting concepts, you can refer to my book, GD-PI Handbook. The link of the same is visible on the screen now. So, go forward and in the next 5 days, finalize the first draft by completing these 19 how to prepare tasks. As I said, rough draft will take 2 to 3 days. If after that you want to sit with it and brainstorm and have a revised first draft, then do it in the 4th and the 5th day. You might find this a lot of time, but remember, when I say first draft, I do not mean that it is the first thing that comes to your mind. First 2 days will go on listing whatever data you could master for yourself. In the next 2 days, you will edit it by reading it again and again and again. So by the 5th day, you have a fair copy of first draft. Go ahead and prepare your HAPI-G so that next time when we meet in our interview 2 video, you can directly translate your HAPI-G into interview answers along with me. So till then, all the best and see you soon. Thank you.